Not long ago, my husband received a promotion at his job. When I heard the news, I felt incredibly proud and happy for him. I've watched him put in so much effort and dedication over the years, often going above and beyond. He has worked at that company for a very long time, and throughout that time, he has stayed committed and focused on his work. Seeing him finally get recognized for all that he's done made me feel overjoyed. After getting the promotion, my husband decided to celebrate by inviting all his friends over for a backyard party. He was really excited about the idea, and I could tell he wanted to make it a big event. While I was happy for him and wanted to support his celebration, I couldn't help but feel a little unsure about it. The main reason was that whenever he throws a party like this, he usually expects me to take care of all the cooking. He doesn't like the idea of hiring a catering service, so he often leaves the food and preparation up to me. That means I end up spending hours in the kitchen, cooking for 30 to 40 people, and on top of that, I also have to deal with the cleanup afterward. It's a lot of work, and it can be really exhausting. While I enjoy hosting now and then, doing everything on my own for such a large group can feel overwhelming. This time, I decided to speak up and ask my husband if we could perhaps hire a catering service for the party. After all, this was his promotion celebration, and he was getting a big bonus soon, so I felt it would be fair to take some pressure off me for once. But instead of agreeing, he pushed back. He said he didn't want to spend money on hiring outsiders when he believed I could handle everything myself if I just planned ahead and started preparing and cooking the food early. He tried to convince me by saying that no one else knew his exact taste like I did, and he didn't enjoy anyone else's cooking the way he enjoyed mine. Basically, he wanted me to do the work as usual. I didn't feel like getting into a long discussion about it, so I just shook my head quietly and let it go. Deep down, though, I felt a little frustrated. I wanted him to understand how tiring it is to do everything alone, especially for so many people, but as usual, he steamrolled over me. On the day of the party, I was running around from the moment I woke up. I had a long list of things to take care of, and I was trying my best to make sure everything went smoothly. I spent hours in the kitchen making sure all the dishes were cooked properly and ready to serve. On top of that, I had to set up the backyard, getting all the plates, glasses, forks, spoons, and even handkerchiefs arranged neatly for the guests. There was so much to do, and I was juggling it all on my own with no help. The only thing I had asked my husband to do was to get our 7-year-old daughter ready on time. That's all I needed from him. But he didn't even do that. As the time got closer and I realized she still wasn't ready, I had to stop everything I was doing and help her myself, right before the guests started arriving. It was really stressful, and honestly, it felt a little unfair. I wanted to enjoy the celebration too, but instead, I was stuck taking care of everything by myself. Before the party even started, my husband came down to check on everything. The only thing he said to me was he expected me to have made more dishes. I couldn't believe it. I had spent the entire day, actually, several days, planning, prepping, cooking, and organizing everything for this celebration. I had made 7 full dishes completely on my own, without any help, and I had done it all while also taking care of our daughter and setting up for the guests. I was already exhausted, both physically and emotionally, and instead of showing any appreciation or thanking me for all the work I had done, all he could do was complain that it wasn't enough. That one little comment stung more than I expected. I didn't say anything in response, but inside I felt unappreciated and disappointed. Anyway, once the party got going, my husband was in his element. He was laughing, chatting, soaking up all the attention. It was his big day, and he was clearly enjoying being in the spotlight. Many of his friends were there, some he hadn't seen in a long time, so he spent a lot of time catching up with them. A few of his co-workers also showed up with their families, and the backyard quickly filled with the sounds of conversation, laughter, and drinking glasses. Everyone seemed to be having a great time, relaxing and enjoying the evening. As for me, I stayed busy in the background, making sure everything ran smoothly. I kept checking on the food, refilling trays when they ran low, and making sure no one went hungry. I wanted the guests to feel comfortable and well taken care of. Even though I was tired and my feet ached, I kept moving, making sure things stayed in order. I didn't want anyone to notice how drained I was. I was just focused on keeping the party going. At one point during the evening, my husband's friends started clinking their glasses, smiling, calling out for him to give a speech. The sound of glass tapping filled the air, and everyone turned towards him, waiting to hear what he would say. My husband stood up, holding his drink, and looked around at the crowd with a proud smile on his face. He thanked everyone for coming and for being part of such a special moment in his life. He talked about how much this promotion meant to him and how grateful he was to have reached this milestone. And then, with a grin, he mentioned how happy he was to finally have his own corner office. And the crowd cheered and raised their glasses. It was a light, joyful moment, and I could see how proud he felt. After thanking everyone for being there, he started talking about his childhood. He shared how he didn't grow up with much and how nothing was handed to him easily. He spoke about the challenges he faced and how those early experiences shaped him into the person he is today. Then he turned to his parents and thanked them. He said that it was their discipline, their values, and their constant push to do better that had helped him reach this point in life. My in-laws sat nearby, their eyes fixed on him, clearly proud of what he was saying. Anyway, after talking about his childhood and thanking his parents, my husband raised his glass again and said how lucky he was to have a beautiful family. I couldn't help but beam at those words. For the first time that evening, I thought he was finally about to acknowledge me, my support, my sacrifices, and all the effort I had quietly put in behind the scenes to help him get to where he was. I stood there, waiting, heart open, ready to receive a small moment of recognition. Then he said, "I couldn't have been here without my wife." My heart lifted. But just as quickly he shifted the tone and joked, "So honestly, I'd probably still be successful, just with a little more money in my bank account." The crowd burst into laughter. People found it funny, light-hearted even. But I didn't laugh. I smiled politely and watched as my husband then went on to say, "Honestly, if it weren't for my wife, I'd probably be nowhere. She's like my personal drill sergeant, always telling me what to do, how to do it, and when. Her constant nagging has really helped me develop some patience. If I can survive my wife's daily lectures, I can handle any boss in the office. So thanks for that, babe." The guests laughed again, thinking it was just playful teasing. But I wasn't amused. His so-called playful teasing was starting to sound like an insult. After everything I had done for the party and for him over the years, hearing him say something like that in front of everyone made me feel small. I wanted to say something to defend myself, but I just stayed quiet, not wanting to ruin the celebration. Then, one of my husband's friends raised her glass and tried to defend me, saying, "Let's also thank your wife for all the amazing food and for making this party possible." The guests all looked towards me, smiling and nodding. For a brief moment, I felt seen and appreciated. I thanked my husband's friend, but instead of accepting the thanks gracefully, My husband suddenly laughed and said loudly, "Oh yeah, my wife can definitely cook. She's had a lot of practice over the years. After all, someone's got to keep the house running while I'm out doing the real work, right?" He continued to laugh. However, people around him looked a bit uncomfortable. Nonchalantly, he continued to say, "My wife's actually the lucky one, though. Let's be honest. I've given her, and honestly, even her whole family, a brand new life. I mean, where would they be without me? Probably still stuck, struggling, going nowhere fast. I didn't just build my career, I basically built theirs too." I froze. His words felt like a punch to the gut. He chuckled like he had just delivered the funniest line of the night, as if what he said was light-hearted or clever, but this time the room didn't laugh along with him. The happy, lively mood that had filled the backyard just moments before suddenly changed. Some people forced polite smiles, unsure what to say or how to respond to his harsh words. Others avoided eye contact, looking down at the ground or glancing away, clearly awkward. I stood there quietly trying to keep myself together. My chest felt tight, like a heavy weight pressing down on me. I could feel tears beginning to well up in my eyes, threatening to spill over, but I fought hard to hold them back. I didn't want to cry in front of everyone, not here, not at this party that I had spent so much time and energy planning and preparing. I wanted to be strong even though inside I was breaking. What hurt me the most wasn't just the words he said, it was how casually he said them, like they were no big deal. He said them out loud in front of all our friends and family, without any thought about how much those words would hurt me. I had given so much of myself, quietly, working hard behind the scenes, cooking, cleaning, planning, supporting him, without asking for praise or attention. But in the end, instead of feeling appreciated, I was made the joke of his celebration. I became the punchline, the person everyone laughed at. That stung more than anything else. I was the lucky one? I kept thinking to myself, unable to believe the words he had just said. Was he really trying to say that he was the one who gave me a new life? Is everything good in my life because of him? The truth was so different from what he claimed. For context, I was the one who got pregnant back in college while we were dating. Because of that pregnancy, I had to drop out of college as I was bullied and looked down on by many of my classmates. I faced all of that on my own. He was the one who pushed me to keep the baby, but even then, he didn't offer any real help or support. I was the one who went through the entire pregnancy, carrying our child, feeling scared and alone at times. When the day came to give birth, I was at the hospital by myself while he was busy partying and having a good time with his friends. While my husband was able to graduate with his degree, I was busy taking care of our child. I didn't have the chance to finish college or focus on my own goals because my whole world revolved around raising our little one. On top of that, my own parents didn't support me. They were so ashamed of the situation that they stopped speaking to me and made me live in their basement with my child. It wasn't until my husband finally got a job that I was able to move out and live with him. But even then, my life didn't really get better. He made me his stay-at-home wife, and that role quickly turned into being his full-time cook, cleaner, and helper. Every day, I have bought groceries, cleaned up after his mess, cooked his meals, done his laundry, ironed, folded his clothes, even took care of his sick dog before it passed away. All of this while also making sure our child was taken care of. I have literally carried the weight of everything on my shoulders, but he has never thanked me for it. Meanwhile, throughout our marriage, my husband has gone on several trips with his friends, leaving me to handle everything at home. Most weekdays, he's hardly ever around. Even on the weekends when our daughter wants to spend time with her father, he often disappears to go to the golf course or hang out with his buddies. I never get a real break. I haven't had the chance to go on a single vacation or take any time for myself in years. And yet he has the audacity to say that I am the lucky one in this marriage. The only time my husband ever helped my family was when things got really bad. My dad was in a car accident and couldn't work anymore. My mom had to sell all her jewelry and even their car just to try and pay off the bills, but it still wasn't enough. My parents were about to lose their home and I didn't want that. It's the only home they have ever known. So I begged my husband to help. At first, he wasn't interested and didn't want to get involved. But I stood firm and put my foot down. I reminded him that I had never asked him for a single penny for myself throughout our marriage. I had taken care of him, our child, and even his parents without ever complaining or asking for anything in return. All I wanted this one time was for him to help pay off the remaining debts of my parents so they wouldn't lose their home. After I pushed him and made it clear how important it was, he finally agreed. In the end, he did pay off the debts, but it wasn't something he did willingly. It felt like I had to fight just to get him to help my own family, even though I had supported his family for years without question. Ever since that day, he has always held this over my head, acting like he was some kind of hero who saved the day. It's like he expects my parents to be grateful to him forever, as if they should be kissing his shoes or something. If we ever have any disagreements, he has told me things like, "You forget how much I do for you and your family. Don't act like I'm not the one holding it all up." Or, "I'm the reason your family's still standing. You should appreciate that." I have never said a single word when he has brought it up before. I've always just kept quiet and tried not to make a big deal out of it. But how dare he say these things in front of all our guests, like it was some kind of victory he wanted to show off. His words made it sound like my family and I were completely dependent on his money, like we owed him everything. I felt humiliated standing there in front of everyone, but for the first time I also felt something new. Anger. Anger for my husband. I was pissed that he was acting like he was some big shot, like he was better than me and my family. It made me furious that he didn't see or respect everything I had done and sacrificed. That night, I realized I couldn't keep pretending his behavior was okay. After my husband finished his speech, everyone clapped for him. The room was filled with cheers and smiles. I clapped the loudest. My mind was made up in that very moment. For the first time in a long, long time, my eyes were wide open. I finally saw things clearly. My husband doesn't love me, not the way a husband should. He doesn't respect me or appreciate everything I have done for him and for our family. To him, I'm just someone he has taken for granted all these years. I am the one who gave birth to his child. I'm the one who cleans up after him, cooks his meals and keeps everything running, but none of that seems to matter to him. I'm just invisible, like I don't exist except to serve him. And now I feel done. I don't want to be Mrs. Nobody anymore. I don't want to disappear into the background or be invisible in my own life. I matter. My life matters. It's time for me to take back my worth. I couldn't stand watching my husband keep talking himself up while putting me down in front of everyone. Feeling overwhelmed and hurt, I quietly took our daughter and went up to her room. I read her a story and tried to create a calm moment just for us, and then I tucked her into bed. After that, I refused to go back downstairs. My husband came looking for me, clearly annoyed, but I ignored him. He came upstairs and demanded I come down and entertain the guests like it was my job. I looked him straight in the eye and told him, "This is your party. It's your responsibility to entertain your friends." He seemed surprised and didn't say another word. Even after the guests left and the party was over, I didn't clean up a single thing. The dishes piled up in the sink, the empty glasses and plates were still scattered around the living room and backyard, and the mess in the kitchen remained untouched. For once, I stayed away from all the chores, the cooking, the cleaning, the laundry, everything I usually did without complaint. I need a break from the constant work and feeling like no one noticed or cared. Ever since then, my husband quickly noticed that something was off. He kept coming into the kitchen and living room, frowning as he looked around at the mess. He started asking me, "Why are you acting like this all of a sudden? Why do you have so much attitude? You haven't even cooked for me these past few days. What's going on?" His voice was sharp, almost accusing. He couldn't understand why I wasn't doing all the things I usually did for him. But the truth is, I'm just tired. Tired of being invisible, tired of always doing everything behind the scenes. I need to stand up for myself, even if it makes him uncomfortable. For once, I want him to see what it's like when I am not there to fix everything. AITA for being pissed at my husband and wanting to leave him? Update 1. Answering a few questions here that people keep asking me in the comments. Why didn't you ask your husband to help with the party prep earlier? I tried to, but he always says he prefers me to handle everything because he thinks I know exactly how he likes things. I did ask him this time to hire a caterer, but he refused. He just expects me to do all the cooking and cleaning like it's normal. Have you talked to your husband about how his words made you feel? Not yet. I'm still processing everything. I feel really hurt and angry, and right now I'm trying to figure out how to tell him without things turning into a big fight. But I definitely want to talk to him soon. That said, I'll be honest. This isn't the first time I've wanted to talk to him about how he makes me feel. I've tried in the past, more times than I can count. But every time I bring something up, he brushes it off. He'll say things like, "Don't get your panties in a bunch," or ask if I'm on my period, like my feelings are just hormones and not real pain. It's honestly exhausting. Whenever I've opened up, I end up feeling worse because he turns it into a joke or makes me feel like I'm being dramatic. That's part of the reason I stayed quiet after the party. I knew if I brought it up right away, he'd either laugh it off or twist it into something about how hard he works. But deep down, I know I deserve to be heard and taken seriously. I just need to gather the strength to say it clearly and stand my ground this time. Why do you keep doing so much for him if he treats you this way? Honestly, I've been used to putting my family first and supporting him for years. I thought that was just part of being a wife and mother. But now I realize it's not fair, and I can't keep doing everything alone. I'm starting to stand up for myself. Does your husband know how much you've sacrificed? I don't think he fully understands. I've done so much quietly, and it feels like he just takes it all for granted. He acts like he's done everything for me, when really, I've carried a lot of the weight for years. He wouldn't be so focused at work and successful if I wasn't holding everything on my end. I don't need him to boost my ego or fall on my feet in gratitude. But I just need a little bit of appreciation. Is that really too much to ask for? Have you considered couples counseling? I have thought about counseling, but my husband always refused to go. He says there's nothing wrong with our marriage and that I'm watching too much reality TV. To even suggest such a thing. He thinks counselors are a joke and refuses to admit we need help. So right now, it feels like I'm the only one who sees the problems, and that makes it even harder to fix anything. What will you do next? Right now, I'm focusing on taking care of myself and my daughter. I've decided to stop doing everything for him without help. I want to have a serious conversation with him about respect and partnership. And if things don't change, I'm going to think about what's best for me and my child. Update 2. It's been a week since the promotion party, and things at home have grown even more tense. I've still been keeping my distance, no cooking, no cleaning, no laundry, just taking care of our daughter and doing the bare minimum I need to for myself. And today, everything boiled over. My husband exploded at me today, started in the morning when he was getting ready for work. He went to his closet and saw that he didn't have any clean shirts left. I had noticed the laundry piling up over the week, but I intentionally didn't touch it. For once, I wanted to see if he even noticed all the things I usually do. Well, he definitely noticed. He came storming into the kitchen, already irritated, and said, "Seriously? You haven't done laundry all week. What is going on with you? This house is a mess and you're not doing anything. I've kept my mouth shut for days, but you seriously need to step up and do your part." I was stunned. Not because he was angry. He gets like that when things don't go his way. But because he truly didn't seem to understand how insulting his words were. Do my part? I looked at him and told him calmly but firmly, I have done my part. For years, I've cooked, cleaned, done laundry, and handled everything in this house without asking for help. The one time I stop, you act like I've abandoned my responsibilities. Maybe if you actually notice what I did every day, you'd realize that this is what it looks like when I stop. He scoffed and said, "Well, I don't have a shirt to wear to work. What am I supposed to do now?" I didn't even raise my voice. I just said, "You're a grown man. You know how to use the washing machine. If it bothers you, wash your shirts." And that set him off. He yelled, actually raised his voice, threw his hands up in the air like I had just insulted his manhood. He said it was ridiculous that I would even suggest he do his own laundry, and that I was being petty and disrespectful, and that he shouldn't have to deal with this crap when he's the one bringing in the money. He was furious that I was no longer quietly making his life easier. It hit me in that moment. He doesn't see me as a partner. He sees me as someone who exists to serve him. And now that I'm not doing that, he feels entitled to be angry. This week has been painful, but also a turning point for me. It's like something inside me finally woke up. I don't know exactly what my next steps will be, but what I do know is this. I can't keep living like this. I can't go back to being invisible, to being treated like I don't matter. The truth is, I want to leave my husband. I want out of this one-sided, exhausting relationship, but I can't do it just yet. I don't have a support system to fall back on. My parents still won't help me, and I have no savings of my own. I need to be smart for myself and my daughter. So the first thing I need to do is find a job. My husband has always been against the idea. He insisted that our child should grow up with a stay-at-home mother, and I went along with it because I thought that's what was best, but not anymore. I can't keep sacrificing my life just to make things easier for him. I need financial stability. I need independence. I need to build a life that I can stand on without him. So I've decided I'm going to start job hunting. Even if it takes time, even if it's hard, I have to try. Because the only way I can ever leave this marriage and build something better for myself and my child is if I stop depending on him. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my last update, and I know this is the post many of you were hoping for. I'm finally leaving my husband. Yes, it's real. After years of feeling unheard, unappreciated, and invisible, I found the strength to walk away. These last 6 months have been the hardest, most exhausting, and yet the most empowering months of my life. Since that night after the promotion party, after his public joke that cut me so deeply, I stopped being his full-time maid. I stopped cooking his meals, doing his laundry, and cleaning up after him like some invisible ghost living in the walls. I drew boundaries for once. I chose me. I found a part-time job despite his loud disapproval. He kept throwing around phrases like, "You should be at home with our daughter," or "Why do you need to work when I provide for you?" But I kept going and I didn't stop. That part-time job eventually turned into a full-time position. I opened my own bank account. I started saving every penny I could. Quietly, carefully, I built a way out. Of course, he noticed. He grew suspicious. He started picking fights out of nowhere, accusing me of cheating, asking why I was suddenly acting different. He'd raise his voice, throw insults, and try to belittle me back into place. But I stayed calm. I kept my head down, kept moving forward, and now I'm done. I found a small but safe apartment for me and my daughter. I packed our bags this week, left the keys on the kitchen counter, and left divorce papers for him to sign. When he found out, he exploded. He called me selfish, ungrateful, told me I'd regret this, and threw a full-blown tantrum, but I don't care. Let him cry, let him scream, let him sit in the mess he created. I'm not cleaning it up this time. My in-laws are livid. They've called and texted nonstop, blaming me for breaking the family and even threatening to take my daughter from me. But let me be crystal clear, that will never happen. I will fight tooth and nail to protect my child. She deserves peace. She deserves a happy home, not one filled with yelling, fear, and control. I don't know what the future holds. I know it won't be easy, but for the first time in years, I feel free and alive. To everyone who supported me, encouraged me, or simply read my story, thank you. You all reminded me that I wasn't crazy, that I wasn't overreacting, and that I deserved better. And now I'm finally giving myself that chance. Update 4. It's been 4 months since I left my husband. We are currently divorced. I received what the court deemed fair alimony and child support. My ex did a lot to try and stop it, begging, yelling, accusing, guilt-tripping. He even tried to delay paperwork, hoping I'd change my mind, but I didn't. During the process, he acted like a victim to everyone around him, told people I was just going through a phase or that I had been influenced by social media. He said I was breaking up our family for no reason. Right now, he's living with his mother, as he apparently can't live in the same house alone without us. His mother, my former mother-in-law, is just as furious as he is. She's been calling me a home wrecker and telling everyone who'll listen that I destroyed her son's life. Apparently, she thinks I should just have stayed quiet, cooked his meals, folded his laundry, and smiled through the disrespect. No, thank you. As for my ex, he calls me constantly. I'm not exaggerating when I say he calls me 20 to 30 times a day. According to him, he's nearly broke now and it's all my fault. He says things like, "You wanted money so bad, now you've got it. Happy?" He constantly swings between begging me to come back to him and accusing me of ruining his life. I ignore every call. It's wild to watch someone who once treated me like I was invisible suddenly act like he can't live without me. But the truth is, he doesn't miss me. He misses the convenience of having someone to do everything for him. The maid, the cook, the childcare provider, the emotional punching bag. That's what he lost. And I'm glad. Stay tuned for more stories from our girl relationships.